yeah, and I remember you saying, I asked you, I think one time, like, what is your dream, like, day moment? And you're like, I see myself, like, jumping on the beach with my family in, like, in Hawaii. And then, like, a couple of weeks after, you said, oh yeah, I'm going to Hawaii. I'm like, do you remember that you actually envisioned that? You decided that before? So it's like, there's something very powerful about making a decision and
Yes.
trusting that, because here's the work that always happens, right? You already know what you want, and your soul is already speaking. Like, when you speak about, like, you can even see it on this video. It's like when you speak about joyful connection, when you speak about your work with the seniors, there's like something that literally lights up, like your soul literally lights up. And then when you talk about, like, the social work, okay, it was safe, it was yeah, but then I got home, and and you can literally feel your soul, like, oh, and
And even the
what we
body.
do in the program is really like discern between the two voices, because sometimes the voices sound so similar because they're always speaking simultaneously. When you talk about your dream, your vision, then that kind of like what I call it, the egoic structure, that very reasonable voice there starts to come in and starts to talk about all the reasons why we shouldn't do what we want to do. And so every time we kind of face that, just like you said in the breakthrough call, we kind of face that moment where did that doubt imprint in your body, and that in your moment in your life, in your like childhood, and then in just these moments in our life where we kind of get imprinted with this mechanism that helps us to protect us from not feeling a certain way. Every time we kind of clear one of those things, then it leaves room for something else. So it's like, that's the process, is being able to every time clear so that we can leave room for something else, and trust the clarity. It's like all that clarity, even if you sat down by yourself, you would have had it, Eileen, but it's just like somebody else saying, yes, yes, do that. Yes. Like, yes. And
I need the extra push.
yeah, just that it just takes somebody. I think what it is, it's like, it just takes somebody to see your vision too, and to have that certainty and that centeredness to know, I believe in it, and I believe it's possible, and I can hear it, because I can hear the discernment between your soul and between that place that just wants to protect itself. So
that's the safety.
I think that's why I love working with you, is that you were open to that process of going to places that are not necessarily easy, emotionally, but you had that maturity of, like, looking at it, working with it, letting the tears come, letting it flow, letting it release.
I was like, where are all these tears coming?
Yeah, right? All of this, and I think that those tears are like a thawing, right? Something that we've been, like, gripping on for so long, and and we're trying to protect it, but it's like all of a sudden we're like, somebody who actually I feel safe expressing my dreams with. And I think that's so important, to have a container where not just all of your, like, shit needs to come out, but also, like, what about your soul? What about those dreams that, like, maybe somebody else is like, ooh, I don't know about that, Eileen. I don't know if that's like a rational decision. But you need a safe place to say, yeah. And of course, I'm not going to tell people to go off, and I'm always going to tell people, I'm always just going to reflect back what their own truth, because you're the only one that knows,
Exactly.
So I guess, yeah, I want to thank you for your grace and your appreciation, because I really believe that frequency of gratitude, that frequency of joy, that frequency of excitement, that frequency of, like, being grateful for having somebody, like, collaborate with you, is really a superpower. It's a superpower to manifest your life. And so you have come to fruition with that in your life, knowing how to, manifest things in your life that even are scary, but manifest, like, that, place where you're like, oh, I'm here. We're on Hawaii at the beach, and just,
oh my gosh,
right?
Can I just share, like, this manifestation, how real it is? Well, I've always, I think since 2012, been manifesting, and it's magic. But last night I was looking at our old emails, And you asked me, and I love this exercise. You asked me, I believe maybe third session that we had, to write up a 5-year kind of a dream plan, or what does your next 5 years look like? Like your everyday, what does it look like? And reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm living it. And I even like shared it with Ro last night as I'm reading, and I'm like, even like waking up in the morning and feeling really good and having the time to, not every single day, but having that time to even meditate for 10 minutes or to journal, and being the one to drop off the kids at school, pick them up, just having this freedom. I continue to work with this organization, which I am still, and even hitting up corporate, doing corporate wellness workshops, which I also got to experience. So I wrote so much, but I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yes. And it's crazy, like 2 years and a bit later, and even that, the whole Hawaii thing, I remember you asked me, again, it was a kind of meditation that we did during our session, where we were in Hawaii, and there was kind of like a rope or a line on the sand. It's my favorite place, Ko'olina, my favorite beach. And I had you on the other side of that rope. So I was on one side, on the other side of the rope was all of my family and my friends. I think even some of my clients who were cheering me on. And I had to, it was kind of just significant in that I had to jump over the rope.